Welcome to the Coast to Coast podcast, brought to you by Play Picks and the Lines, coming to you from the West Coast. Josh Lander, joined by my guy Nate Weitzer on the East Coast. It's time for that player props video we love to bring you each and every weekday. Make sure you do like and subscribe to the page. Got a small slate tonight, so a couple other videos on the two total games that we have tonight: Lakers and Sixers, as well as the Golden State Warriors taking on Minnesota at home as well. Nate does have his great article up on playpicks.com with some best bets and player props in there for you. And do like and subscribe to that page, as we mentioned, and check out those other couple of videos today. And as always, if you do still need a FanDuel or DraftKings account, head to fdpicks.com or dkpicks.com and find those listings in your area, such as what we've got for tonight. Nate, let's get into it.
Yeah, let's bet on positive regression as we have with Steph Curry in the past. A couple of hiccups have prevented him from fully breaking out of that slump, but he is due. He is overdue at this point. Since the Warriors went back home, he started to get hot. He had 39 points in 6 trays against the Pacers team. Then went kind of cold in his last 3 kind of weird games against the Rockets and Jazz, and then the blowout against the Mavericks, in which he didn't get much minutes down the stretch. But his usage rate has remained the same at 31%, and he's simply too good of a shooter to not score points and hit threes when he gets that kind of consistent usage. Obviously, he still has the green light. You'd be a fool to take away Steph Curry's green light. So his props are way down at 24.5 points. I think he definitely gets over that against the Wolves team that he averages 30 points per game and 6.2 triples per game in his last 5 meetings, shooting 46% from deep against Minnesota, who we mentioned is 26th in three-point defense over their last 5 games. Steph to hit 4 threes, you get minus odds at DraftKings. If you want to go Steph to hit 5 threes, you get plus 150 at FanDuel. You want to go Steph to hit 6 threes and a win, plus 500. I'm a little reluctant to take the blow-up game with a win, because it seems like when the Warriors win, it's a total team effort, and it winds up being a blowout half the time. It's often because the other team is overreacting to Steph so much and they're able to play off him. So I think we will have a kind of a close game, the way Minnesota's been able to score on the road this year. So I just like Steph 30 points straight up for plus 230 at DK. Obviously, I like that even money for him to get 25 points. He averages 26.5 at home. Yeah. The slump, I mean, it's a very recent memory, this slump. He should get back to it and start scoring about 26 each time out.
Yeah, no, I'm with it. I'll follow you there with Steph tonight. Against the Wolves team that you mentioned, he's historically really, really good against. Don't love points in this game. There's some conflicting info, obviously, but either way, Dubs at home, Steph at home. Love the 25. If I'm getting plus 150, you said, for 5 made threes without the win needed, feel really good about that, because if Steph is coming out of that slump, he's putting up 10 to 12 3-point attempts. And if he's coming out and hitting and getting those points on all those attempts, he's going to have to, hit those. And we think he's due for one tonight. So let's go with Steph. Let's go under in this game as well with another guy, DAngelo Russell, playing well lately, not going to lie, and is pretty crucial to what they do. As we know, the big 3 for Minnesota being in means they're a completely different team. But he is very bad against Golden State. And I thought that would be, I remember that being the case since he's left Golden State. He's only played them 3 times since leaving the team. 11 points a game, 2 boards, 9 assists, but shooting 34% from the field, 25% from 3. Then you extrapolate that further into his career versus Golden State when he was on other teams playing against them, including the Nets. Only 15 points a game, 3 boards, and 6 assists in 10 career games versus them total, with 42% from the field, 33% from 3, all right from 3, but really bad from the field all over the place. So I feel pretty good about him going under against a team that he's never played well against. And you look at Golden State's defense, we already know that they're a top 2-3 defense in the league, if not the best one. But specifically what they do against guys like D'Lo, 3rd best opponent 3-point percentage at home, as well at home. They allow the 2nd fewest assists and the fewest points per game. And then you hone in a little bit more on what they do against opposing point guards. That's really where they stop the ball and really kill the offense. They give up the 5th fewest points and rebounds, both of those categories, 5th fewest amount to opposing point guards, and then the 2nd fewest assists to opposing point guards, which is, if you're scared of D'Lo's points, rebounds, and assists tonight, which is the under I'm taking, excuse me for not mentioning earlier, under 28.5 points, rebounds, and assists for him. That gets you minus 104 at FanDuel. You look at, like I said, the way that the Dubs are limiting those ancillary stats to guys like D'Lo and opposing point guards. Really feel good about the under on the PRA, and the points I don't think will help him get there either. Even if he gets those 18, 19 points, his prop right now his points prop is at 18.5. I kind of like the under there as well, but love getting the extra stats all the way up to 20.5 to go under for him. Like I said, just doesn't do it against the Dubs ever in his career.
Yeah, I like taking the under on the peripheral stats, as you mentioned, because the Warriors give up few rebounds, few assists. I think D'Lo could get 20 points tonight and still come up short. When you look at his rebounding prop, is big plus money for him to get 4 rebounds. You're probably looking at 3 and maybe only about 3 assists against this Warriors team. So, yeah, I think that's the safer way to play it than to go under just on his points, since he could get to the line, could get going a little bit, and finally find his way against a former team. But I also like the peripheral stats for LeBron James, of course. They're pretty low at 14.5 rebounds and assists. I think that now that AD's back, LeBron's going to be freed up a lot more to be a playmaker. He's been playing center in these last 18 games. He's putting up, sort of Embiid, same numbers as Embiid, 32.5 points per game, 9 rebounds with 6 assists. He averages more rebounds per game on the road, and Philly is the worst rebounding team in the league somehow. In his last 3 against Philly, he has 29 dimes. He's rocking a 34% usage rate. Again, this is a nationally televised spotlight game, and I do not feel worried about LeBron James performing in a spotlight game, especially against the new frontrunner. By the way, Embiid just became plus 350, leading the MVP race officially at DraftKings. So LeBron tends to come to play in those spots, and it's a big spot for the Lakers in general, having lost 5 of their last 6 to this team and really needing to right this ship. So LeBron as points at 43.5 PRA, I think he definitely gets there in a close game. My favorite bonus would be 30-plus points in a win is plus 350. And just throwing out that a triple-double is one of the least likely bonuses at FanDuel, plus 1,700 for LeBron's triple-double in a win. That's because his assist numbers have been down so much due to their situation, but I think maybe there's a chance we see more AD and Dwight Howard up top to deal with Embiid, and therefore more LeBron playing true point guard.
Yeah, no, I'm fine with the rebounds and assists where they are. I think he's going to come out on a tear tonight. I do like a 30-point game from LeBron tonight. We both do, we mentioned in that video about the Lakers and Sixers that we do like the Sixers to be able to cover. Definitely can see them winning this one as well, especially if Russ is going to stop turning the ball over in the fourth quarter like he finally has in the last 3 games that he's been playing since he got benched. LeBron everywhere, really, not worried about which category of stat you want to take with him. If you do want to juice that up with the player performance double, like you mentioned, with that win for LA and get really, really good odds, by all means, go ahead. I'll play it safe tonight just because Embiid, Wilt Chamberlain, Wilt Chamberlain, Embiid scares me still. But at the same time, LeBron to get his, not worried about that at all, like you said, on TNT tonight. So big game for him. Another guy who, if you've been following this podcast at all, you know that we're not exactly the biggest Russell Westbrook fans, as are most of the stat heads in the world who follow the NBA. However, despite all of that, I still like him tonight. He's been playing better. We mentioned in that video I said about the Lakers and Sixers that in his last 3, he got benched in the fourth quarter, only played 4 minutes against Indy 4 games ago. And then since then, in his last 3, has come back much more efficiently. Something worked. I think, he's at least turning the ball over a lot less, about 1 less a game in that time. But also, scoring 19 points, 9 boards, 7 assists, shooting 52%, and only 3-point attempts a game, which are some highlights, some stats to really highlight for him, because that means he's playing within the offense. Thank God. 33 minutes per game still, and that same usage rate for him that he's had. He does really well against Philly. His props tonight too, I should mention, are pretty low for what I would consider for him. I like the 15.5 points the most, minus 118 at FanDuel. If you want to add the points, rebounds, and assists for him, as he's been filling up, all the categories lately, I'm fine with that too. That's minus 115 at FanDuel. His last 4 that he's played versus Philly, regardless of venue, 22 points, 8 boards, and 10 assists a game, shooting 44 and 43% from 44% from the field, 43 from 3. Not worried about the 3-point one. Don't really want him shooting those, just like the other stats there. And in in Philly, specifically in his last two, over 20 points a game, about 10 boards and 14 assists. So, coming back from, that benching, like we said, in the fourth quarter, being a little bit more efficient and playing in a game tonight that they have to have with AD still not AD fully, probably not going to get more than 20, 25 minutes for him still. So you feel good about Russ being the second banana to LeBron tonight.
Yeah, I mean, it is all about getting ahead of the curve here, and you see Westbrook kind of correcting his slump after what we were sure was a long conversation from some teammates, from leadership, as they started this road trip in Orlando, smashed that PRA prop in both Orlando and Miami, and then took, throttled down a little bit in that low scoring game against Brooklyn. But he has 18 points at least in 3 of his last 4 road games. So I like the points prop straight up. I think, the PRA is still really low for a guy like Westbrook who fills it up. And again, if you think the Lakers can win, 18 points in a win is plus 420. And if they're getting that kind of production from, all 3 of these big guys, you'd think the Lakers will be able to overcome Wilt Chamberlain in Joel Embiid's body.
Yeah, precisely. Either way, at least there's some fun matchups tonight, right? We're not watching Pistons, Cavs, or anything like that. We'll have some good games out here. No offense, Pistons, Cavs. But either way, that is all the time we have for you. And this one, looking to right the ship after a tough Wednesday, still really solid on the week, started 8-0, as we mentioned. So we'll look to get back on track tonight. And until we see you next, happy betting.